those in the audience, I know we have a large group today, all of those in the audience know we're on a strict time schedule. We've got about 6 bills that we're going to vote out hereafter. This is a bill that we've heard 3 times now, so we're pretty familiar with this bill. Hopefully we can get this exec out pretty quickly as well. This is going to be House Bill 2848. Judge Dolan, come on up. You're like the all-star in Judiciary Committee. Maybe it's because you were a judge. Maybe you're just a phenomenal legislator. Maybe both. So with that, we'll begin the public hearing on House Bill 2848.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the opportunity to present this bill and members of the committee. My name is David Dolan. I'm in the representative from District 148, which is Scott County, Missouri. It's my pleasure today to bring you House Bill 2848, which is the mask intimidation bill. This bill is exactly similar to Senate Bill 1150, which I think you have heard before. This bill prioritizes public safety by prohibiting individuals from engaging in criminal conduct while intentionally concealing their faces with the intent to place others in reasonable fear for their physical safety. Mr. Chairman, the reality of this mask legislation prevents and responds to crime and harassment. They do not stop law-abiding citizens from masking for genuine reasons of health, religious observance, or revelry. Mr. Chairman, can you imagine it's August in the Boot Hill and you own a convenience store and in walks a couple people wearing ski masks in the middle of August? Those of us who have dealt with the reality of hate crimes and violence don't really have time to indulge in fantasies and what ifs. Groups that encompass civil rights and religious members, including 23 states, 27 municipalities, these groups get it. Mask legislation will keep everyone safer. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I have no questions, but does the rest of the body? Seeing none. First witness, please come forward on mass intimidation by Judge Dolan, House Bill 2848.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Michael Grote, I'm a registered lobbyist appearing on behalf of the Anti-Defamation League. In addition to the comments you've already heard from Judge Dolan, one, we appreciate Senator Berger's work on this as well. As you heard, this bill is identical to the legislation you have already considered, and it's also relevant. So I'll give you a couple of examples. One, we've had one in Kansas City this last year where members of the Patriot Front, over 100 members, marched with their face covered. This is a white supremacist organization that was intending to intimidate individuals, as well as we saw in Town and Country in the last year, the city of Town and Country, you had a number of masked individuals displaying swastikas and intimidating people in that community. So unfortunately, these behaviors are on the rise, and this legislation protects freedom of speech, but also looks at punishing these behaviors which are intimidating to our public. So we appreciate your consideration.
You know that group, the Patriot Front, were they linked to the Southern Poverty Law Center? Did they receive any funding from Southern Poverty Law Center?
I do not know the answer to that question, but I'll look for you, sir.
Okay, I appreciate it. Any questions? Hearing none. Thank you for your testimony. Moving to those in opposition of House Bill 2848. Seeing none. Any for informational purposes? Arnie, you don't have to sit all the way in the back. This is the only bill we're taking a hearing on today. Moving back to those in favor of House Bill 2848.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Chance Heppel here on behalf of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I believe this is the 3rd time that we've testified on this bill, and so we just want to go on record in support of this legislation. Just want to share similar sentiments of the previous witnesses, but also from a public safety perspective, that tends to be a top priority for Missouri businesses, for businesses that are looking to move to the state. They believe that public safety is top of mind for not only for their businesses, but also too for their workers as well too. So as much of it is a public safety legislation, we also believe this is a workforce development legislation too, knowing that these workers, these individuals who choose to work in a very specific field in a very specific sector, that they are protected, and knowing that the state of Missouri is sending a signal to both the workers and our employers that we mean business and we take public safety top priority. And so with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Moving back to those in favor of House Bill 2848.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, State Public Advocate. I submitted my online testimony on the Senate portal. Hopefully somebody received it. Cool. Let's see here. Back on February 11th, I testified before the House Judiciary Committee, and I testified in favor of House Bill 2848. This is a common sense no-brainer bill, along with Senator Berger's bill. I forget what that number is, but I know that I supported it in committee, and both endeavors, after my recollection is that both of them mirror each other across the board, and there's no differences. I want to make sure that the bill, however, does protect all religions. I feel that religious right is a sanctity, and it's a personal choice, and we need to make sure that we are cognizant and that we're not violating or discriminating against any Missourian. This is a crime tool. Crime will not be tolerated in Missouri. Let me say that again. Crime will not be tolerated in Missouri. And by somebody misusing or misrepresenting the use of a covering to cover their face in the use of a felony or a robbery or a burglary or taking advantage of Missourians will not be condoned by anyone in our state. I, however, feel that this bill shall apply to all law enforcement, including federal, state, county, and municipal law enforcement officers. You know, ICE has been moving throughout our country. Sometimes they don't identify themselves as law enforcement. Sometimes they cover their face. And I'm an all-in, either across the board for all people or none. The laws need to apply to everybody, whether you have a badge and gun or whether you don't, or whether you're a regular citizen. So when it comes to the law enforcement needs to set the example, and law enforcement needs to follow this law as any other Missouri citizen. And I would hope that this law would apply to everybody across Missouri within our borders and all sectors of our state. I highly support HB 2848. We need to send a clear message to the criminals, to the felons, that crime and strong-armed robberies will not be allowed to happen in our state. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Arnie. This bill does make some exceptions for law enforcement. We've seen law enforcement being doxxed and harassed and intimidated for many years in the state of Missouri. Would you still be in support of that, knowing that it does have an exception for law enforcement who are on duty?
My problem is if there's an internal affairs investigation or a complaint filed by a citizen because of wrongdoing or because of physical assault, or that person crossed the line, violated promulgated rules or regulations known as SOPs, standard operating procedures, which every professional police department, whether it's a county level sheriff's office, a county police department, or a local village or police department, should be accredited by either the Missouri Police Chiefs Association or the International Police Chiefs Association. And I feel for internal affairs purposes that if a citizen feels that their rights were violated, either their civil rights or they were discriminated against or wrongly assaulted, I feel that that officer needs to identify themselves to be held accountable and responsible for filing an internal affairs complaint with the proper agency or the Missouri Highway Patrol or the FBI or the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. So I support the bill. I believe that the covering should apply to everybody, including law enforcement. And I also believe that law enforcement officers need to identify themselves with their name, first and last name, and a DSN badge number so they can be held accountable if there's a complaint filed against them. And, you know, you're an attorney. I'm sure you've represented citizens that may have been wronged by law enforcement or maybe they crossed the line. And everybody needs to be held accountable no matter what profession you're in or what field of work that you're in our state.
Any questions? Seeing none. Igor, you didn't have any questions? Okay. Seeing none.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go to the next in support of this bill. Seeing none. Any again for opposition on 2848? Seeing none, any for informational purposes? Seeing none, that'll conclude the public hearing on House Bill 2848, and we will stand at ease until we can get the rest of our members here for a executive session.
Here. Gregory 15. Brown 26. Berger. May. Roberts. Schnelting. We have a quorum.
Having a quorum, I now move that we go into executive session. Do I have a second? Having a second, we are now in executive session. I now move that we bring up House Bill 2167. Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. We are now on House Bill 2167. This was the House All-Star, who was already here just a couple minutes ago, Judge Dolan's bill on the employment of certain persons with law enforcement authority. This is a bill that had been brought before this committee for a couple years now, dealing with the Attorney General being authorized to appoint investigators necessary to properly perform the duties of the office. I know someone from the AG's office is here today if there are any questions, so I'll open it up to any questions. Seeing none, I now move that we vote do pass House Bill 2167 out of Judiciary Committee. Do I have a second? Having a second, Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Senators Schroer,
Aye.
Gregory 15. Brown 26. Berger. May. Roberts. Schnelting. 3-1.
By a vote of 3-1, motion carries. I now move that we bring up House Bill 2547 from Representative Boggs. Do I have a second? Having a second, we are now on House Bill 2547. This is dealing with cameras on private property. Representative Boggs presented this last week and detailed how, for the past several years, he's brought this bill and how the members of the government are putting cameras on private property without warrants. He just wants to make sure that landowner consents or there is a search warrant to go on private property. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I now renew my motion to vote do pass House Bill 2547 out of committee. Do I have a second? Having a second, Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Senators Schroer,
Aye.
Gregory 15. Brown 26. Berger. May. Roberts. Schnelting. 4-0.
By a vote of 4-0, motion carries. And I know the staff is going to hate me for this. We just heard this bill, but we've heard it several times. This is the mass intimidation bill. No changes from, I think it was Senator Berger's and Senator Washington's bills together. So does anybody have any issues with me bringing this up? That's the one that we just heard, the mass intimidation bill.
I didn't hear it,
You were just here.
but I didn't hear it. I wasn't listening.
Yeah, so this is the same exact bill that we voted out before, and I believe you voted yes on combining Senator Berger's and Senator Washington's bills. No changes from that. Who's always here? Senator Berger is now given the award for the most consistent all-star from Judiciary Committee. I'll get you a ribbon later. I now move that we bring up House Bill 2848. Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. We are now on House Bill 2848. I now move do pass House Bill 2848. Do we have any questions? If not, I renew my motion. Do I have a second? Having a second, Mr. Secretary, call the roll on House Bill 2848.
Senators Schroer,
Aye.
Gregory 15. Brown 26. Berger. May. Roberts. Schnelting. 4-0.
By a vote of 4-0, motion carries. I now move that we bring up House Bill 1740 from Representative Griffith. Do I have a second? Having a second, we are now on House Bill 1740. This is the driving while intoxicated bill that's been around for several years. There were some changes that were made, and I do have a substitute which was distributed. Should all be in your inboxes. So the changes that we made on, I'm going to pull this up real quick. The changes that were made on the driving while intoxicated bill, there were some nuances with the blood alcohol level, and if you kill someone and it becomes a felony. What I went ahead and did after some questions with the sponsor and Senator May, I don't believe you were here at that time, I said that if you're above blood alcohol level and you kill somebody, that should be a felony. I don't think that we have to get into the nuances, and I've told the bill handler or the bill sponsor that if that does become an issue, we can go back to the original version on the Senate floor. So it inserts a provision in situations with, I think if you killed somebody, it should still be a felony, because you know that you're above the legal limit. You took somebody's life, and that's where I think we need to crack down on that. So the Senate committee substitute inserts provisions including situations on property damage and personal injury, requiring the offender to use the ignition interlock, and that was from Representative Sharp from the Kansas City area. Removes a part of the paragraph where the defendant was acting with criminal negligence to cause the death of any person. That's what I just discussed. When it's at least 0.15 of 1%, and we just said if you're above that legal limit and you kill somebody, those penalty provisions should apply. It includes a provision similar to Senate Bill 1135 relating to child maintenance orders for certain persons, and that's the bill from Representative Henderson. That was the version that was passed after a long discussion with Senator Washington on the floor 2 weeks ago. So we've truly agreed, or not truly agreed, we voted that out of, that's Bentley and Mason's law that we've heard in this committee. It was modified by Senator Washington. Absolutely.
You have to have 4 members to stay.
Oh, okay. We'll go through these pretty quickly. Any questions on the substitute for House Bill 1740? Seeing no further discussion, I move to adopt the Senate Committee substitute for House Bill 1740. Having a second, Mr. Secretary, or all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no, and the ayes have it. The Senate Committee substitute is adopted. I now move to pass Senate Committee substitute for House Bill 1740. Do I have a second? Having a second, Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Senators Schroer,
Aye.
Gregory 15, Brown 26, Berger, May, Roberts, Schnelting. 4-0.
By a vote of 4-0, motion carries. I now move that we bring up House Bill 1625, offensive involving the trafficking of drugs, by Representative Haley. Do I have a second? Having a second, we are now on House Bill 1625, and I have a substitute which has been distributed, combining this bill with a bill from myself, adding certain judges in St. Charles County, and the Senator Brown's bill on Franklin County, adding 1 judge there. Any discussion on that substitute? It takes the underlying bill of offenses involving the trafficking of drugs, makes it a public safety bill, and just adds 2 bills that we've heard out of this committee for the past couple of years on adding judges in St. Charles County and then adding 1 judge in Franklin County.
I got something I want to ask this, but we're going to put it in your floor.
Absolutely, that works. Any discussion on the substitute? Hearing none, I now move that we adopt the Senate Committee substitute for House Bill 1625. Do I have a second? Having a second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The substitute is adopted. I now move to pass Senate Committee substitute for House Bill 1625. Do I have a second? Having a second, Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Senators Schroer,
Aye.
Gregory 15, Brown 26, Berger, May, Roberts, Schnelting. 4-0.
By a vote of 4-0, motion carries. Last bill that we are going to be bringing up is Representative Stinnett's. I now move that we bring up House Committee substitute for House Bills 2592, 2787, and 2834. Do I have a second? Having a second, we are now on this bill, which I have a substitute on. It should have all been distributed. It's in your emails, and all this does is kind of carves out when a person on probation or parole for certain felonies is entitled to vote while they're on probation or parole. It takes out all of the major sex crimes. It takes away your violent and dangerous felonies as well. Is there any discussion on that substitute for House Committee substitute, House Bills 2592, 2787, and 2834?
Yes, because I got some language I want to put in there, so I want you to, agree basically.
Hearing no discussion, I now renew my motion that we move to adopt Senate Committee substitutes for House Committee substitute for House Bill 2592, 2787, 2834. Do I have a second? Having second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The substitute is adopted. I now move to pass Senate Committee substitute for House Committee substitute for House Bills 2592, 2787, and 2834. Do I have a second? Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Senators Schroer,
Aye.
Gregory 15, Brown 26, Berger, May, Roberts, Schnelting, 4-0.
By your vote of 4-0, motion carries, and having no further business before the committee, I now move that we adjourn. Having a second, we are adjourned.